Yes.
Uh,
So the West Manga update. You said that you had two, but one of them you said recently got adapted into an anime.
right.
So if you can give
So
like
I've
a
been
like the brief
reading.
title and then brief description and whatever, blah blah blah.
Yeah, so it's called Skiga Michibika Isekai Donchu, or
Mm.
it's also called just Tsukimichi Moonlit Fantasy, which
Tsukimichi.
is this. It's just another. It's well, not just another. It's an isekai.
What is that?
So transported to another world. Which is like, you know how like TV shows and stuff goes through like genre. What would you call them? Like
Subgenres?
hotspots, or I get, or something, where like a bunch of this type of genre
Yes.
of movie is released. Like right now we're in superheroes, in the early 2000s, and like or not 90s. When was it? Before, sometime before that, it was like cowboys, was like westerns were really popular, and then
Are
I
you talking
think
about
like
an anime?
just in general,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
media goes through like these phases, I guess is what I'll call them. Right now, the anime is very much in the isekai phase. Isekai is like super popular. There's like at least one new isekai every season, and actually, I think all three of the ones that I'm about to talk about are isekai, or one of them's not. Or there's like four series I have that I'm going to talk about, but one of them is not an isekai. Three of them are isekai, to give you an idea of how many
Yeah.
isekai are being released.
Shit. So like these are like new picks for you, and they're all isekai. Well,
Right, yeah.
three of them.
Granted, I really like isekai, so
I mean,
uh,
those are fucking great ones.
right now, since the it's been going for like probably 10 or so years, I would say we've been in the isekai kind of phase.
Yeah.
Uh, Genres, or not genres, they're getting good at them, I guess is what I'll say, and they're kind of playing with the tropes that have developed over the past, however many years that they've been
Right.
doing it. But
They've been
anyway,
refining their art.
right, exactly. And this one I think is one of the better ones. So Tsukimichi is what I'll call it. Moonlit Fantasy is pretty good. I've been reading it for probably, I want to say like 2 years now,
Oh, okay.
or so. But it's essentially about this guy who gets transferred to another world. Typical isekai fashion.
Right.
Um, they sell it in the first episode of the anime that just came out yesterday. They sell it as he's like this unfortunate protagonist, even though he's not really. He kind of is, in the sense that like the one of the big things in the show is that his character is transported to this other world where his parents are from, and in this other world he's like super fucking ugly, like so ugly that most like other humans in the world mistake him for like a subhuman, like an orc or something like that. uh but he's pretty powerful in typical isekai fashion, and he starts, to build up the world, and he has like this, spoilers for anybody who's watching the anime, uh, but essentially how it goes into in the manga at this point, he's basically building up a little world inside of himself, kind of,
This
and
is
so it's very
crazy.
similar to, uh, the time I was reincarnated as a slime. It reminds me very much of that.
Mm.
And mostly just because it's like the main character goes and is building up like a town or a community of like monsters, essentially is what he does. And he's got like this semi harem kind of, which is like this dragon that he encounters in the first episode, and then later on it's this like giant spider monstrosity, or calamity I think is what they call it.
Oh,
That
yeah,
kind of
Calamity.
like
That
he
that
kind of like, what was I gonna say? He makes like a contract with them, so they're basically like his servants because he's
mm.
so strong. They're basically like his slaves, but he doesn't, like, obviously he's like not a bad guy or whatever, so he doesn't treat them like slaves. But yeah, so it's basically kind of like a world building isekai, that's fairly wholesome and pretty interesting. But he doesn't actually get to the building of that world until I think maybe even the second season. It might not be until,
Oh,
in the
really?
anime.
So
Yeah,
what
but
what does the first season consist of? Is just like explaining everything that's about him, and then he.
so it's kind of like setting up him in the world.
Mhm.
So he kind of gets this companion in the first episode, and then after that, he kind of goes to this town. He finally reaches this human town, and he becomes like a merchant essentially, and he
Mm.
sells. I want to say he sells goods from his world or something. I can't remember exactly, but like he's
Oh,
the only one
okay.
who knows how to make them essentially. So he's like trying to become a merchant, and there's like a whole arc with that.
See
And
that
then
that
later
right
on, he
there,
goes
I don't
into
know if
something
that's
else.
interesting to anybody else, but that what you just said, like having goods from his home world and like
Mhm.
having the knowledge on the other one to like build that,
Yeah.
that's interesting to me.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then like I said, it kind of shifts into more of a the slime. The time I was reincarnated to slime, which I don't know if you've seen that one, but
No,
essentially they both
assume that I
uh,
haven't seen
right.
anything.
That one's another isekai where a guy is reincarnated as a slime, and then he makes this absorbs this dragon who he promises to release from the seal later on, and so he becomes really powerful, and then he starts basically like building up this monster village, and then interacts with all of these human and dwarven and other countries around him. So it's very similar to that in the sense that he's building up a community around himself.
Mm.
Um,
What
but
would
yeah, so
what would you give off? Let's start doing this with your anime manga. Let's do like a
okay,
1 out of 5 rating for that you'll give it. One being complete dog shit, and you can do like 1.5, like 2.5 or
okay.
whatever. So like 1 to 5, how would you rate the Moonlight?
So Moonlight, I would say I can't. I'm not gonna give a rating on the anime yet because
Mm-hmm.
it just started. The first episode seemed kind of short to me,
Mm-hmm.
uh, so I'll tentatively give the anime a 7. But sorry, I'll give it a 6 for now, just because I think 6 is we're on a 1 to 5, so that
What
would
one to
be
five? I'm like,
right. That
damn,
would be
dude,
a
you
3.
really fucking like this.
That would be a 3.
Okay.
It's fine for now, but if it follows the manga's progression, it will get better. And I would give the manga like a slightly higher than a 3.5, so like a 3.75
Mm,
maybe. So like almost what would be like a high 7 or something, I guess, if you're on a 10 scale. Um,
that's
I'm going
decent.
I'm going off a 1 to 10 scale because I rate these all in my anime list.
Oh, okay, okay, go. Let's do 1 to 10 then, since you already have an
Okay.
anime list. Let's do one to
Uh,
ten. Cause dude, cause Kenny actually told me that he got on the anime list thing, and he's like, dude, it's so addicting. Like, I want to read more, so like I can check off more shit.
yeah. After I start new series, I always go and give them like a tentative rating, and then usually I go back and try and adjust it based off of the ending.
Yeah.
Uh, but all of the scores on my list are currently fucked up because I had to remake my list. So
Mm.
I think I talked about this in a previous episode, but yeah. So like all of my ratings aren't like currently accurate, but
And why is
it's
that?
a
I
work in
forgot.
progress. Because I was just adding them all in off of like what anime I remember I'd watched, and some of them I
Oh,
had watched like years ago and couldn't quite give like a accurate rating on.
that's
So I
why
was
you
like,
said
that
tentatively
was probably
rating.
a 7. Right, exactly.
Yeah, I see what you're talking
Um,
about. Yeah.
but let's see. The other one that I was watching is kind of an isekai. It's not like transported to another world. It's more like transported into the past.
Oh,
Um, and it's basically based around. It's called Bokutachi no Remake or Remake Our Life. And
Bokutachi
it's
no
based
remake.
around it's based around this artist who worked at one company and it kind of fell through. The company went under and he was out of a job, moved back to his
Mm.
parents' place. Then he got a new one, got lucky, got a new job at a company he really liked. And then the project he was working on fell through, and then he got fired there. And so
God
he's like
damn.
back, he's down on his shit. He's like, damn, the second time this happened, I'm just fucked. And he's like down on himself, and he's like, man, I really wish I could go back. And I wonder, or no, I think he just says, I wonder what it would have been like. It does this flashback of him deciding back in high school what college to go to, and he chose originally to go down like a more safe path, like a businessman path, rather than the art path, and that's why he got into art so late into his career, which is why he thinks it failed.
Mm.
And his generation, there's like these really good artists or something that are part of his generation that he wishes he could have uh, gone to because he got accepted to the school that they all went to.
Right.
And then so after all that happens, he wakes up and he's back at that moment where he made the decision. And he's like, oh shit,
I
this
want to
is
know
my
what the fuck
chance.
happened to make him go back. Like, what happened in that dream, or who put him under that dream? What
I don't
kind of
know.
technology?
It doesn't really explain why he goes back. It's kind of just a
They have to
um,
explain that in the
left
later
ambiguous.
chapters,
Yeah, I don't
right?
know. I haven't really read the manga. This is mostly just the anime that just started.
Yeah, that's
All
interesting
of these
though.
are anime that just started this summer. So like they only have like 1 to 2 episodes out.
Oh, okay.
Um,
That's see, I like that.
oh right. So Seirei Gensoki or Gensoki. is Spirit Chronicles. It's another isekai. It's about this guy who dies in a car wreck. He made some promise with some girl when they were younger that they would, even through death, they would get married when they were older. But then he dies. So, and is reborn, or his memories at least, are transferred into this kid who is at, like, living in the slums. And
You said his memories are?
yeah, it's like his memories. Like normally in an isekai, the character themselves are transferred or like reborn in a new world. However, in this one, it seems like the character that we're following in the other world still retained his own personality and conscience and just has the memories of the other guy or something. So
So
I'm
it's
not really sure what's happening with that yet.
so this slum kid is his own person,
Right.
and he just has memories of this other person. It's not like a fully enveloped new character, not new character. It's not the
It's not like a
guy's.
new body.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
It's not like a new body with the guy's memories and the actual
Right,
guy.
right.
It's like
It's
that's
like
weird. It's just the memories that he's uh yeah. I
yeah,
don't know the
it
word.
was it was kind of it was kind of interesting, and that's kind of why uh, I'm interested to see where it goes. Is because both of the characters have like clearly defined goals. Like the
Yeah.
one or the one he was reincarnated in, I guess. So I guess I'll say whenever the character is first introduced in the new world, uh, some guy walks in and is like, "Ah, we thought you were going to kick the bucket from that fever," or something like that. So maybe it was possible that like he died and then was saved by the other guy being reincarnated or something. I'm not really sure. But
Mm,
anyway, Rio is the name of the kid who is like living in the slums. So that's
yeah.
the character. That's like the main character that we're following in the series. And he's like he wants to get revenge for his mother, which they haven't really given a backstory on what the deal is with that yet. We just know that he wants revenge. And then the character that was isekai'd has that promise with that other person
Yeah.
that
With
they're
the
supposed to get married or whatever, like whenever they're adults, even through death is what they said.
even through
And now that
death.
he's dead, yeah, and now that he's dead, I mean, I guess we're gonna see what happens with that. So
That's interesting. That really is.
yeah, so I'm curious to see where it goes. Like I said, there's only really one episode left or out, I mean.
Yeah.
Um, so we'll see where that goes. I tentatively gave that one a uh, I gave it a 7, but I would give it like a 7.5. Just because I feel like if the series continues to be as strong as the first episode, it'll probably be an 8.
Yeah. It's
I like I
looking
said,
good. Like
I
the
really
anime.
like isekais, so
Yeah, like the anime you explain has like strong first episodes. It seems,
for sure,
but I
yeah,
mean the whole challenge, continuing it and making it good.
yeah, for sure. I
Cynical
feel like
optimism.
yeah, cynical optimism. I feel like I start a lot of series and then end up dropping a lot of series. So, like I said, we'll see where
I
they
mean
go.
that's just how it goes, man. I mean
For sure.
it's just if it's not good, I mean you can't force yourself to fucking watch something or
Right,
read
right.
it.
I usually try and give any series that I start, I usually try and go by like a rule of 3. I'll
Hmm.
usually give them 3 episodes before I drop them. Because if you haven't convinced me that you're worth watching by 3 episodes, I mean, I feel like you're not worth watching.
Right, right.
And the reason I did that is because actually there's an anime called Black Butler that
I've
is
heard
kind
of
of
that. Yeah.
it's the first episode I'll say, and that one is just absolutely terrible. And I haven't watched it. I probably watched it in middle school, so I don't actually remember how terrible it is. But my memory of it is that I watched the first episode, dropped it, and then like months later saw some people talking about how good it was, and I was like, "What? There's no way that first episode was complete shit." And then like went and watched the second and third episodes, and was like, "Oh, this is actually pretty good." So ever since then, I've been giving it like a rule of 3. Like I watch 3 episodes and drop it or keep watching it at that point. Uh, but anyway, the next series that I wanted to mention was I just watched this one yesterday.
Hmm.
It is called "The Detective Is Already Dead" or "Tante wa mo shinderu."
Tante. Wait. Tante da.
Tante
Tante.
Tante wa
Tante wa.
mo
Tante wa mo.
shinderu.
Shindiru.
Shinderu.
Shindiru.
Like the meme line.
Yeah.
What is it? It's like
I know what you're talking about. I don't know. Oh,
I'm blanking on it, but he says mo shinderu, like you're already dead.
Yeah.
In the line, but yeah, so it's called "The Detective Is Already Dead," and it had this crazy first episode where the main character's like essentially this like trouble magnet is how he describes himself, or trouble always finds him,
Yeah.
and he's like so it starts off with like this random person kidnaps him and is like, all right, you got to bring this random briefcase on this plane.
Hmm.
And so he's like, all right, guess I have to do this. And they're like, otherwise we'll kill you or something. I don't remember what they said,
Right.
but so he's on this plane, and then while they're on the plane, over the intercoms, there's like, is there a detective on board? And essentially, the person sitting next to the main character is like, I'm a detective. And then so he follows the detective, and he's like, she's like, do you want to be my sidekick? And he's like, sure, I guess. And
Mm.
so they go and like try and prevent this plane jacking. Um, and then so it goes. It's that first episode was like an hour long or something like that, and it goes through this whole thing that makes you really like this detective that he's following, and like they agree. The whole first episode is basically her trying to convince him to be her sidekick,
Yeah.
um, and he kind of figures out through the episode that it's basically just her using him as like bait, essentially, since he attracts trouble. She's going to
Oh,
use him to like find cases and solve them.
yeah.
And
Oh
he's
shit.
not quite sure how he feels about that. By the end of the first episode, she convinces him to be her sidekick, and then the very last thing in the episode is that line. He says, "Tante wa mo shinderu," like she's already dead. The detective that we just followed through that entire episode is already dead apparently. So I don't really know where the fuck this
Okay,
show is going
what?
to go.
What?
But like they made me feel all these things for this detective and this dynamic between the detective
And then
and
they
the
just
main
drop that
character,
on you.
and they just dropped that on you. And I was like, wait, what?
Like, wait,
So
all my feelings. She's dead.
yeah, so
Shit.
I don't know what to expect from that one. I tentatively have it as an 8 because I really enjoyed the first episode.
I would have
But I
enjoyed that twist a lot. Like I would have
yeah,
probably had it at like a 5 or like a 5.5. But like after that
uh
twist, I'll be like, okay, okay, okay. What
yeah,
the fuck?
it was
Okay.
really good because like it wasn't super special. It was mostly just the interactions between the characters. It's like
Yeah.
listed as a mystery anime on the show, or on the like my anime list as like its genre.
Yeah.
But there wasn't really any mystery to it. It was more of just like the detective being like, this is how I knew what everything was wrong. And I was
Yeah,
like,
it's just
okay,
like the
that's one of
mystery is
those.
like her job as a detective is like mystery, I guess,
Right.
right?
Well, I guess now it's going to be that she's dead or something. I
Yeah,
don't really
yeah.
know.
I don't
Um,
fuck.
like I said, it wasn't really that good until they dropped that on me, and I was like, oh shit, because
Yeah,
like I,
like
I was
there's
probably feeling
something.
like a 6 up until that point, and then I was like, oh wait, there might be more here.
Yeah, like there's
So
more to it that's not
right,
just a detective and a
right,
trouble magnet fighting cases.
yeah. So
Like
we'll see what
she's dead.
happens. Yeah,
Like,
she's
how the
she's
fuck?
apparently dead. I don't know what happened between then and you know
Or
her
maybe
being
or
dead,
maybe he's
but
dead and he's reaching out through the ether and he's trying to convince himself.
he's
I
a
don't know.
spooky ghost. I have no idea.
Just
Yeah.
throwing shit out there.
Yeah, who knows? Like I said, I only saw the first episode. It was pretty interesting. Piqued my interest at the end, so we'll see where it goes. Eight actually might have been too strong. I'd probably say a 7 actually. Is what I would give it, based off of how like generic the. So it starts off really strong, and then there's like this generic interlude part where they're like in a high school or whatever doing some stuff, and
How
that
much
part
did you
was not
not
as
enjoy
great.
that?
It was the intro was like a 8, and then that section of it was like a 5 or 6, and then the
Oof.
ending brought it back up to like an 8. So I
Yeah,
was
like
like,
averaged
so it's
out.
probably like, yeah, so probably like a 7.
Yeah.
I would say. Um, but yeah, so those are the ones that I've been watching recently, and I'm looking forward to in this upcoming season. And then I wanted to mention one other thing, which was Anime Gensho. The last time we did a episode with him,
Yeah.
recommended Wonder Egg Priority, and I've been sleeping on it for a while. And I just started watching it. I think I watched like 6 episodes a few days ago, like
And what
just in one session.
what do you Oh, okay, so you like it.
So it's really good. It's really
Yeah.
good. It's basically about these girls who had like their best friends commit suicide by some way or another, and essentially it's like this like battle anime almost where they have to go and fight the girl, like a physical manifestation of these people who committed suicide's trauma.
Oh,
and
I
and
oh, that's unique. I
it's
like
actually it's
that.
really good. It's really good. And the other part of it is that there's these like guys who like, or not guys, they're like puppets or something. I don't know what they are.
Yeah.
Basically tell them, hey, if you save however many people, I think it's like 100 or 1,000 or something like that, then we will bring your friend who committed suicide back to life.
So they
So
have a
that's like the
choice
whole.
to do that or actually fight the trauma? Or
No. Like they have to fight all of these people's trauma. So they get these things that are called the Wonder Eggs. That's why it's called Wonder Egg
uh-huh.
Priority. And then whenever they get them, whenever you fall asleep with a Wonder Egg, you wake up in some area that's related to their personal trauma.
Oh
So in the case
God,
of the main
dude.
character, it's like her school. Because she was like a shut-in before this because her friend committed suicide, and then she also was personally like harassed at school. So anyway, she wakes up, and then you throw the egg, and then out of it comes the person who committed suicide, and you have to basically keep them alive until you can defeat their trauma, whatever it is.
Holy shit. Dude, that's that's
And
that's so dope.
dude, it's really good. I was not expecting it at all. When he recommended it to me, I like looked up the I think like a promotional video of it, and
Yeah.
I was like, okay, it looks kind of interesting. I'll watch it at some point. And then I watched like the first episode a few days ago, and I was like, oh, I've been sleeping on this show. So
What
solid. Shout out to Anime Gensho. Solid recommendation there.
shout out Anime Gensho. You're gonna be on soon. Very, very,
Yeah,
very soon.
I
Because
gotta finish the show before then. So
well, we
so we can
have
talk about it.
Kenny wants to come on and he wants to discuss Hunter x Hunter.
Oh yeah, has he finished it? I don't
Henry
know.
wants to come on because he's 100 chapters into One Piece.
Oh yeah, I forgot he was reading it. I
So
didn't know
we
he
have
caught up with
we
it.
have a lot of new features, a lot of new things
Hell
coming.
yeah.
But I wanted to close off on